Okay, so welcome to tonight's webinar. As you can see, tonight we're talking about grow yourself to grow your business. And this is the sixth in a series of 8 webinars that I run, and they're all recorded. So I'll show you at the end where the recordings are. So if you've missed any of the previous ones, you're very welcome to go and look at the recordings. You don't have to wait for the next one. I try to run one every Wednesday evening. Although sometimes I can't make it, so although there's 8 in the series, it might take 9 or 10 weeks to go through the whole lot. The first 3 in fact, are really about the retail side of the business, getting started, finding your first customers, the things to do in your first few weeks and building up that customer base. Then 4 and 5 are about growing your team, team building and supporting new team members. And then 6, 7 and 8 are really about growing yourself. By the time you get to here, if you know how to put your catalogs out, you know how to post products on Facebook and retail that way, you know how to share the business with somebody, and you know how to support somebody who joins your team, then you pretty much know everything you need to know in terms of skills. But the next big step in making your business as successful as possible is all about learning about yourself. It's not how to do the business, it's learning about how to get more out of yourself and how to motivate yourself and how to learn things better. And so 6, 7 and 8 are all about those sorts of things. So tonight, this is what we're going to talk about. As I've said there, you know how to put your catalogs out and build a customer base, or at least if you've been in the business for more than a couple of weeks, you'll know how to do all that. And if you've been in the business for a while, or you've been on the other 2 webinars, you know how to find somebody who might be interested in earning some extra money and introduce them into your team and support them. But what other skills do you need to grow a large and successful Kleeneze business? And that's what this is going to cover. So the first thing I want to talk about is the system. And basically what we try to suggest is that you follow our system. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You've got a sponsor for a purpose. That sponsor there, the purpose of the sponsor is to teach you the system so you don't have to start from scratch every time. Yay! Hi Hayley! I'm going to just give you a little bit of essential understanding that talks a bit about a number of little things really, but just things that you might not have learned yet if you've been focusing on your retail side or your team building side. And what I want to do is say a little bit to you about personal development, and just to introduce that to you and give you a couple of books that I recommend that you read. So when you go to school, you're always told by your teachers not to copy. You have to learn everything yourself. You have to go and do your research, listen to what the teacher's saying, but you're not allowed to copy off anybody else in the class because that's cheating. But in Kleeneze, it's the complete opposite. Copying successful behaviors and successful patterns is the route to your own success. You don't have to start from scratch. But what is that system? We talk often about the system that you should be following. But what is it? Well, sounds very good. Well, if you've been following these webinars, you've been learning about the system, about the different ways to retail, about different ways to team build and support your team. So you've been learning about it on these webinars. And Kleeneze has been in its current form for, well, over 20 years now doing the catalogue side. Kleeneze has actually been around for 90 odd years, since 1923. But certainly in terms of a network marketing business based on catalogues and more recently online selling, you certainly don't need to reinvent the wheel. However, that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to think up new ideas. The Facebook explosion really, which has only been around for the last 9 to 12 months, is all because somebody thought, I wonder if there's a different way of doing retail. So the solution to this, where do you learn from, is to find someone who is successful in the business and copy them. And you find those people in different places. So it could be your sponsor, your upline. Obviously, if they've sponsored you, then they're doing something right, because they found you a successful and amazing individual. So speak to your upline. If they're a bit new and they're not quite sure exactly how to help you, then their upline or that person's upline are all there to help you as well. And the other big place to find successful people is at local meetings. There are meetings all over the country. There's that huge showcase at Birmingham, which is absolutely amazing. If you haven't got your ticket for the Birmingham showcase at the end of this month, I recommend you get your ticket. If you've joined the business recently, then you can get a ticket for free. Just call the help desk and say that you want to go along to the Birmingham showcase, and the ticket's absolutely free. So there's the showcases, there's regional training meetings, there's local opportunity meetings, and they're all places where you can mix and learn from successful people. Okay, so that's a bit about how to learn the system. Attending these webinars, speaking to your upline, attending the meetings. If you do those three things, you're pretty much guaranteed. If you follow what you learn, you will be successful. So what else might you need to know? Well, I recommend it's really worth understanding a bit about the network marketing industry. Kleeneze is a business that operates as a network marketing business. There are lots of similar businesses around the world, and it's a fantastic way to build a successful business without all of the overheads and stuff that goes with creating your own traditional business. So there's a couple of great books that I would recommend, actually a book and a CD that would really give you a great understanding of how network marketing works. The first one is a book by Don Failer called The 45-Second Presentation. And that's a great book. It's quite short. I can't remember, it's not 50, less than 100 pages, lots of pictures, big words, big writing. So it's my kind of book. You can probably read through it in one sitting. It's not that long. And it's just a great way to understand the power of network marketing. And then the other one that I'd recommend is actually a CD by Jim Rohn. It's not a book, it's a CD that you listen to. And actually, it's good that it's a CD because Jim puts his ideas across in a fantastic way. That's called Building Your Network Marketing Business. And that really just explains a bit about how to start doing it, and the fact that not everybody's going to be successful when they join the business, and understanding how to grow a successful business despite all of the people that don't see it the same way that you do. So that's a good place to start, understanding the industry, network marketing. The other thing that I would recommend is that you understand a little bit about the Kleeneze pay plan. You don't need to understand the whole thing. There's a huge pay plan from if you've just started yesterday to you've been in the business 25 years and everything in between. As you grow your business, you will progress up the pay plan and earn more and more and get more and more successes. But you don't need to understand the whole pay plan. I'd recommend you just make sure that you understand a couple of steps ahead of you. So firstly, understand the commission. So the commission that you earn on all of your sales is 15 to 21%, depending on different products and different catalogs. So that's what everybody earns from all of their sales. Then on top of that, if you can hit certain volume targets, you get more bonuses. So these are called 10%, 13%, 15%, and so on. You can see that there. And basically all they mean is you get a larger bonus as you increase your orders, but also those bonuses are based on the orders of you and any of your team members as well. So you can build a big bonus even by just doing a little bit of retail yourself and having other people that all just do a little bit. Better to have 1% of 100 people's work than having to do 100% of it yourself. And then once you get to the 24% level, you qualify as what's called a gold distributor, and there are lots and lots of levels that you can go up beyond that as well. So I'm not going to go in them all now. As I say, the longer you've been in the business, the more you'll get to understand them. But just speak to your upline if you've just started about how do you get to the 10% level or the 13% level, because that's the first steps for you. And a big understanding, and this is something that I think every time I get reminded about this, it kind of helps me, and that is that building your business is a numbers game. There is absolutely no guarantee that for any particular house that you go to and drop a catalogue to, you'll get an order from them. However, what is guaranteed is the more catalogues you deliver to the more houses, then the more customers you'll get and the more income you'll earn. And it's exactly the same when you start to speak to team members. There's no guarantee that anybody will join your business and be successful. You could sort of think, oh, my brother's fantastic, he always works really hard, I'm sure he'd be successful at it. And you might speak to him and he might say, "Nah, I'm sorry, he's not really interested in me." It may just not be the right time for them. So thinking you might have one or two or three fantastic people that you already know, that doesn't necessarily mean that they will all be successful distributors themselves. But again, what I guarantee is the more people you speak to, the more team members you will get, and the bigger your business will grow, the higher your income will be. And that Jim Rohn CD that I mentioned earlier is he has a fantastic way of explaining about the numbers and why different people leave the business even after they've started, and why some people might not even join anyway. So definitely recommend that one. Okay, a couple of things just about personal development now. Personal development is it's really the kind of the education that you do for yourself once you've left school. So it's what you can choose to do yourself. Somebody once said to me, if you only do what you know you should do, you can achieve anything. And actually, once you've been in this business for a month or so, you know how to put your catalogs out. If you're going to do Facebook, you know how to do Facebook selling. You know how to share the business with somebody. You know how to support a new team member. And so if you only do that over and over again, you can achieve anything. But what stops people from doing that? Why do people decide, oh, I'm not going to bother putting my catalogs out today, or maybe I'm a bit worried about speaking to that person about the business, they might not want to join, or whatever it is. There's all sorts of demons inside your own head that can stop you from achieving this fantastic success. So, personal development is a way to help you overcome those demons and those obstacles. And Jim Rohn put it really well. He said, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. And what he means is, if you can improve yourself, stop procrastinating, manage your time better, and become more excited about things, you'll be, at that time spent working on yourself is far more valuable than another couple of hours in work. So definitely worth thinking about that. And just become a sponge for information. There is a fantastic range of information available in Kleeneze at the local meetings that I told you about, at the fantastic showcase that I mentioned, the books that I've mentioned, your sponsor, your uplines. They will all be able to provide you with lots of information. Whatever you think you'd like to work on, ask them. And if you don't know what you need work on, ask them again, because if they've worked with you for more than a few days, they will know where you can improve. So become a sponge for information, because that's a guaranteed route to success. And just plug into a little personal development program. And what I mean by that is the most valuable skill set that you can learn is precisely that. How do I learn new things? Some people are happy reading books. Other people prefer to watch things, so maybe on a video, watching something on YouTube, or going in person to see somebody give some training. Or maybe you really take things in well if you listen to things. So there's lots of audio CDs where you can learn things. Webinar number 8, so this is number 6, so number 7 next week and 8 the week after, I go into that in a lot more detail. So if you can't wait for a couple of weeks, then as I said, at the end of this, I'll show you where all of the recordings are, so you could go and watch webinar number 8 later on this evening if you want to. And just get to as many meetings as you can. I've been to, oh gosh, I can't remember how many meetings I go to. I feel like I've never ever missed a meeting. I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure there's always one that I can't get to occasionally. But the point of going to all of these meetings is that even if you hear the same training again, sometimes it's just presented to you by a different person, and they put a different kind of highlighting a different point in it, and you never know when you're going to find your next golden nugget, which will really open your eyes to something and take you to the next level. So I mentioned a little bit about essential reading. I've already spoken to you about a couple of these books. This is a list of books that I recommend. Now there's lots in here, so don't go out to a library and try them get them all now, or go on Amazon and buy them all. And just go through them one at a time. There's the ones that I've highlighted in blue there are my personal favourites. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't really know which one to start with, then any of those is fantastic. And I'll just whiz through them briefly. I go through them all in a bit more detail in webinar number 8. The 45-second presentation, as I mentioned earlier, is just an introduction to network marketing. The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, and on the second half of that slide there, the one called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, both have the same idea, and the gist of it is, it's the little things that you do every day that result in your success. It's not one massive exercise that you do, you absolutely hammer yourself into the ground for a whole week and think, right, that's it, I've cracked it now. It's all about doing things over and over again, persistently and consistently following the system. And that's what those two books are about. The Jim Rohn one, 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness, that's a great one for allowing you to step back a little bit. Sometimes you get really excited by the catalogues and the Facebook ordering and you spend all of your time doing that. And sometimes you just need to step back a little bit and say, do I know why I'm doing this? What can I do to become wealthier and happier? And that's a great book just to help you with that. It's got a great section on setting goals for yourself. So if your goal is to get to have a really nice holiday in the summer, or your goal is to buy a new car or move into a house, then that's a great way to help you think about how can I work towards that. The Chimp Paradox by Steve Peters, that's a particular favourite of mine. It basically talks about people's emotions and why you might get angry at things and frustrated and cross and happy, and all of these things are really valuable, but sometimes they can be destructive as well. And equally in other people that you might find that you're trying to speak to somebody about something and they seem really, you just caught them at a bad time. And that's a great book for understanding yourself as well as understanding other people. Talked a bit about the compound effect, like the last one there, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a really interesting book. It's written by Dale Carnegie back in the 1930s, around the time of kind of big American steel companies. Dale Carnegie was a salesman, and he was really struggling to sell whatever. I can't remember now what the product was and the goods he was trying to sell. And somebody said to him, the reason that you're doing it is that you're just walking in to meet these big salespeople and trying to sell them stuff. And people are not interested in buying from salesmen. They want to make friends with people and understand you. So if you take a bit of time to understand somebody, find out what's important to them, gain an interest, show an interest in them, then they're much more likely to listen to you and listen to what you're offering them. And that's a great way. And that's true in any line of business, really. So that's a great book on that. And then the last one, Design Your Best Year Ever, is all about setting goals. It basically says, for any 12 months, so you don't have to think, oh, well, that's only going to work for me on the 1st of January. You could start today, the 12th of August, and have the next 12 months up until the 11th of August next year to design your best year ever. And it's like a workbook where you decide what you want to do in that year. You break it down into kind of monthly chunks and then weekly steps and daily activities. And it's a great way to build up towards a fantastic goal. So lots of really good books there. I would recommend any of them. So just pick one. If you're not sure which one to go for, and as I say, speak to your upline or your sponsor and they'll be able to recommend one of them for you. And I think I've kind of went through this a little bit. So that's the Jim Rohn CD. At least you can see what it looks like now. And that's that Jim Rohn book. Really, a really great one on setting your first goals. If you've never really done any proper goal setting, goal achieving before, then that's a good one to go for. Then the Slight Edge and the Compound Effect ones, that's what I was saying about the daily things you do every day that lead to massive success. Or, conversely, it's the daily errors that you make that lead to huge failure. And one of the examples we're given here is just, if you're thinking of trying to lose weight, for example, it's really easy to think, oh, well, if I want to lose weight, I'll just eat an apple instead of a chocolate bar. And what the point they make is, over the next 10 years, if you eat an apple every morning, you'll be healthier, you'll get more vitamins, you'll get good nutrition, and you'll be massively healthy and lose weight, all because of one apple each morning. But equally, if you don't eat an apple one day, you don't suddenly feel ill overnight just because you missed that one apple. So it's not a particular day that you do something, it's the daily discipline of doing it over and over again that's important. And that's the same in your business. You could say, oh, well, perhaps I won't bother putting my catalogues out today, I'll do it tomorrow or the next day when the weather's a bit better. But if you every day put your catalogues out, or do your Facebook posting, or call your leads, or whatever you're focusing on. Doing that every day gets you into a discipline, and it just becomes easier and easier to maintain that. That's the Dale Carnegie one that I mentioned, with the just the fact that being nice to people and showing interest in them is an amazing way to build a business. And the last one, as I said, it's like a workbook to help you set your goals. So I really like that one. If you're kind of keen on setting goals and you like a bit of structure to help you support that, then I definitely recommend that one. Excuse me, I'm just going to grab a swig of water. And that was the one by Steve Peters, The Chimp Paradox. Interesting character, Steve Peters. He was working with the British Olympic cycling team, the track cycling team. Now, I don't know if you're interested in track cycling at all, but kind of 10, 15 years ago, we were kind of a bunch of enthusiastic amateurs that didn't really win any medals. And then leading up to Beijing, the guys that took over the management of that team brought in this guy, Steve Peters, to work with people that, because what they found was a lot of people had the raw talent to win, but they were getting phased out on the track. They would sort of be up against one of the top sprinters or something, and they'd think, "Oh, I always get beat by that guy." So they'd almost defeated themselves before they got on the track with them. And Steve Peters just kind of worked with them to understand, help them to explain why their fears and their worries was holding them back. And as a result of that, plus obviously other things that they did as well, at Beijing and at the London Olympics, the British track cycling team came top of the tables, winning lots and lots of gold medals and things. And it was really transformed by a lot of the work that this guy did. So definitely worth a look at. I really like that book. Okay, so that's kind of the end of this section, this webinar on getting started with growing yourself. I just wanted to see if any of you were awake while I was going through that, or if you've all dozed off, or none of you can hear me. Can you remember what Jim Rohn said? He said, work harder on yourself than you do on your... Anyone remember? Job, says Kathy. Paula, yeah. Simon was awake, yep. Very good, guys. Oh, well done, Peter and Myrna. Oh, guys, you're excellent. You're my best students. That's really good, guys. Yes, so just work harder on yourself than you do on your job. It just means focusing on improving yourself. And kind of obvious, really. Okay, quick question then. Sorry, Fran. I think the sound must be a bit up and downy. Of the books that I've mentioned, any of you that have read those books, is there any that you'd like to recommend? Any that you like or you're reading at the moment? Or for those of you who haven't started reading any of them yet, is there any there that particularly appeal to you? Any of the ones that I mentioned? Dave Trowell, yeah. Jim Rohn, he is one of my favourites. Yeah, Strategies one, agree with that. Yeah, Mary, the Chimp book, that's a good one. Feel the Fear. Oh yeah, Fred and Karen, that's a good one. I haven't mentioned that one. Sue Jeffries, I think she is the one who wrote that. Peter and Myrna, yeah, I think, wasn't Jeff Olson the speaker at New York? I know you had a huge team at New York, and I think Jeff was the speaker there, yeah. I'm very envious of you. I never met him, and I know there's a couple in the business, Andrew Buxton and Laura Kelly, who met Jim Rohn before he sadly passed away, so I'm very jealous of those as well. Yeah, Mary, The 12 Pillars, that's another book by Jim Rohn, I really like that one. That's a great introduction to personal development as well. Excellent. Well, I'm really pleased with that, guys. There's lots of great recommendations there. Any of those books are brilliant. You can get them all on Amazon, or if you come into the Birmingham conference, I'm pretty sure that Knowledge is King will have a stall there, and they'll pretty much have all of these books. Or at the other meetings, like the Millionaires meetings, there's often books there as well. So speak to your sponsor, and they'll be able to guide you as to where the kind of best places for you to get the books that you're after. Okay, so just trying to wrap up now and make it about nearly 8:30, so I like to try and keep it within half an hour. Yeah, I agree, Sean. Birmingham's going to be amazing. Looking forward to seeing you guys there. So basically, what did we cover today? We covered following the system. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Learn what other people have been doing. Follow the system. Read the guides and everything. Do the training. Come to the meetings, and follow the advice, and you will be successful. I advised you on a few things to understand. So just making sure you understand the structure of network marketing. A little bit about the Kleeneze pay plan, at least for the next couple of steps for you. That's really worthwhile. And the other thing I mentioned was, I can't remember. And then the last thing I talked about was getting started on your personal development. And a great place to get started is just to choose one of those books, read through it, and that will just give you a great start. Okay, so we've come to the end of tonight's webinar. I'm just going to stop the recording.